Good evening, guys. Welcome to the course Engineering Mechanics for GATE and ESC. As the name specifies, this course primarily targets or benefits students from mechanical engineering discipline who are trying to or aspiring to crack exams like GATE and ESC. Now, before going into the course details, let me give my quick intro. I am Ravi Kiran Akrila, and coming to my academics, I have completed my BTech in mechanical engineering discipline and I am presently pursuing my MTech in CAD/CAM specialization. So I also have 2 years industrial experience, I have teaching experience, then even I have cracked few competitive exams, which I have mentioned there. That's all about me. Coming to this course, engineering mechanics. When I say mechanics, that is specifically engineering mechanics, here I am taking an object which I assume that it is rigid, and then I study its behavior when several forces are acting on it. Say for example, I am taking a body, some random object, then there are number of forces acting on it. Then when these forces are acting, how this body behaves, that study is called engineering mechanics. Now if this object is at rest, then it is statics. If this object is under motion, either under uniform velocity or at uniform acceleration or non-uniform acceleration, anything, but if it is not at rest, it is under motion, then that comes under dynamics. Again, in dynamics there will be parts kinematics and kinetics. Those things we will discuss during the classes. Now altogether to the subject, we will discuss an introduction part where we will study the basic definitions and things like units and measurements, assumptions that we will follow throughout this course. Then we will coming to basic definitions. There we will study things like what is a force, what is time, what is mass, what is length, what is a force system, what is the classification of force system, etc. In classification of force system, if you say there are coplanar, non-coplanar, again concurrent, non-concurrent, again in non-concurrent there are parallel force system and general case of force system. These things, all things we will discuss in brief. Now coming into detail, starting the actual subject, we will study first topic as coplanar concurrent force system. So here when I say coplanar concurrent force system, all forces that are acting are coplanar. That means they are within the plane, single plane. There it will be xy or yz or zx, whichever plane you mention, it is a plane. All forces are lying on a plane, acting along a plane. They are not off the plane. Now again I have mentioned coplanar. After coplanar it is concurrent. That means if there are certain forces acting, say for suppose, then when there is at least one point in this plane, where I can see all the forces are passing through that point. So this point we call it as point of concurrency, and we call this force system as concurrent force system. Even if one force is violating, that means even if one force acting, say for example there is another force which is passing through like this, so this force, either I extend it this way or this way, it is not intersecting these forces at this point. That means this point does not lie on this line of action of this force. That means it is non-concurrent. So if this force is not there, only these three forces are, this is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. So only these three forces are there, or even 4 forces are there, but all the forces involved are passing through a common point. That common point we call as point of concurrency, and we call this force system as concurrent force system. And if those all forces lying on same plane, then we call it as a coplanar concurrent force system. We will discuss basic concepts like how to find what is resolution of we will discuss resolution of forces, composition of forces. We will discuss equilibrium of two forces by using parallelogram law. Then we will study Lami's theorem, Varignon's theorem. Then we will study moment, all those couple, etc. Those basic concepts, and equilibrium of planar forces. So in that concurrent, after the concurrent forces, we go with parallel force system, which is again coplanar. So if there are, say there are 3 forces, there are This is force 1, force 2 and force 3. Directions may be anything, but these all forces together constitute parallel force system, because every force involved, that means line of action of every force involved is parallel in the same, or we can say direction is same. With respect, say if we are drawing an x-axis, with respect to x-axis, all lines or line of action of all the forces makes same angle theta. So that is parallel force system. It depends, one is upward direction, one is downward direction, that depends, that's another case. So we will study all those things. So equilibrium of those parallel forces, resultant of parallel force system, those things we will discuss. Then we will discuss friction. Say for example, there is a rough horizontal surface on that we have a body and we want to drag it, and it has certain weight, say 10 Newton. Then what is it is, there will be certain coefficient of friction mu. Based on that, we will discuss what is the frictional force acting, what is the normal force, all even in the inclined case, rough inclined surface, on that an object is placed and force so frictional force acting downwards or upwards, all those cases all involved over therein we will discuss in friction chapter. Now after these all things, come to general case of forces or coplanar force system, where there can be forces, some forces which are concurrent, and there can also be forces which are not concurrent. That means it's a mix of parallel and concurrent, non-concurrent, everything, but all are coplanar again. So in that case, we call it as a general case of force system, and main application is analysis of stresses. Here we will discuss mainly two parts. One is method of joints and other is method of sections. That is coming to statics. Now going to dynamics, here again I will give you a little bit introduction, like classification of dynamics into kinetics and kinematics, what is kinetics, what is kinematics, all those things. Then coming to rectilinear motion, curvilinear motion. In this rectilinear motion, it is like straight line motion. There again cases involved are uniform motion, motion with constant acceleration or constant force on the body, etc. The same is the case like curvilinear motion. Here mainly the projectile motion. Basically we will discuss, for discussion of curvilinear motion is basically for this projectile motion. So it is parabolic path, and not just it is limited to parabolic, it can be circular or anything. But our engineering mechanics, as far as gate is concerned, our primary focus will be projectile motion. Then we will discuss rotation of rigid bodies about fixed axis. Say there is certain axis and there is certain body and it is rotating, we have applied certain torque or we can say moment about this axis, and so it is rotating. The moment applied is m, say it is constant, then it has moment of inertia as I, the body has moment of inertia of I, then I into theta double dot or I alpha will be equals to resultant torque or resultant moment m. So this is the equation of motion. So this is similar to Newton's second law of equation, where we say mass into acceleration equals to resultant force. Instead of resultant force, we have resultant moment here. Instead of mass, we have moment of inertia here. Instead of acceleration, when I say this acceleration, this is rectilinear, and this alpha, which is rotational. So that those things we will discuss there. So that is rectilinear motion, curvilinear motion, rotation of rigid body about fixed axis. Then there comes general plane of motion. So where both rectilinear and curvilinear are mixed up. So those things, it will be in brief, that is not of much importance in gate. I will just brief you if required. Then coming to work energy principle, it is little bit important, impulse momentum equations. Here we will discuss that amount of work done will be equal to change in the energy of the system or of the body. And in impulse momentum system, we also study impacts of two objects, direct center on collision, like these things, center of coefficient of restitution, all those things we will study here. So this actually will be included in curvilinear and rectilinear itself. So this is actually part of those concepts. Okay, that is a basic idea of what is this subject all about. Now, why should we study this subject? Why it is must for any engineer, basically from civil or mechanical engineer, to study this subject is this lays a foundation or a basis for understanding the main or core subjects of civil and mechanical engineering, say strength of material, say theory of machines, say machine design. These concepts lay the foundation. Using these concepts, further concepts are developed and those subjects are studied. Once we understand them, then only we can become a good engineer. So even to crack exams, we need to understand those core subjects like machine design, theory of machines, etc. And to understand those things well and apply the concepts to solve problems, first of all, this engineering mechanics is the basic subject. So we must study this to progress. Now, to make you familiar with my teaching style, let me take a problem and solve it for you. So this problem specifically is from concurrent force system, coplanar concurrent force system. What he says in the question? He says a 300 Newton box is held at rest on smooth incline. So this is the incline, this is the box which is of 300 Newton and it is held at rest. By how? How? By a force P. This force acting at an angle of 45 degree with respect to this incline is acting on this box and holding it there, avoiding it from coming down. Now he is asking us to find out the value of this P. So before going in, so options are given 300 Newton, 600, 326 and 212. So before solving it, let me mention a theorem called Lami's theorem. So what this Lami's theorem says, that say there is a force system containing three forces, only three forces. Containing three forces, say F1, F2 and F3. There are three forces, only three forces, and they are concurrent. In that case, also they are in equilibrium. Then in that case, what happens? Say this is angle theta 1. Theta 1 is angle included by forces F3 and F2. This is theta 2. Angle theta 2 is angle included between the force lines of action of forces F1 and F3. Similarly, this is theta 3. So if this is the given case, this is the given force system under equilibrium, then we can say that ratio of a particular force to sine of angle included between the lines of action of other two forces. That means say F1. So other two forces are F2 and F3. Between them angle is theta 1, sine theta 1. So this ratio will be constant. So any force you take. So in that way F2 by sine theta 2 equals to F3 by sine theta 3. This we will apply here. How? So for that, two things we have to, two things need to be satisfied. One, three forces only are there. Two, there is equilibrium condition. So there is a concept that in a plane, when there are only three forces acting. So I will tell you, let us draw a free body diagram of the box. So this is the box he is mentioning. This is the box he is mentioning. So automatically external forces acting will be this P, external force, and weight W downwards, which is 300. Another force will be there, which is reaction force due to this incline, smooth incline. So that will be normal force acting in this direction. So observe that there is a concept called, for a body to be in equilibrium, and if there are only three forces acting in the force system, then those three forces will be concurrent. So by using that logic, there is a concept we will study during the course. So by using that concept, we can say safely that there is certain point O where we have weight acting vertically downwards, W equals to 300 newtons. So let us take an horizontal. From that, at 30 degrees we have inclined plane. So normal to that, this normal to inclined plane, this inclined plane is making 30 degrees. So normal to this, we have normal force. So in leaving condition, one condition for Lami's theorem is it must be in leaving condition from the point of concurrency. We can apply Lami's theorem only then. So all the forces involved must be in leaving condition in this direction. If you are having F1 in this direction, F2 in this direction, and F3 say for example in this direction, then no, we cannot apply Lami's theorem. So we have to extend it such that it is in leaving condition. Then we can apply Lami's theorem for these three. So that is how we need to proceed. So n we cannot apply when it is on this side of the point. We have to extend it to upper side and then we can apply. So now P, same way, P is actually coming from this direction. But we will extend it to this way and I will say that this is P. So it will be same. By using the concept of transmissibility, we can do this. So transmissibility, we can drag the force, point of action of the force along its line of action. Effect won't change, overall effect won't change. So external effect. So we know that angle between this incline and this force is 45 degrees. Automatically by vertically opposite nature, this total will also be 45 degrees. And this is normal to the incline, that means this is 90 degrees. And also this incline is making 30 degrees with the horizontal. That means this normal to this incline will make 30 degrees with vertical. So with horizontal, normal will make 60 degrees. Why? Normal is making 30 degrees with vertical, so out of 90 remaining is 60 degrees. Again, this is 90 degrees. With respect to horizontal, this weight is acting vertically downwards, so it will be 90. So now understand, I will apply this concept. I can use any two equations, either this and this, or this and this, or this and this, any combination. Here I will use combination for P and W, because W I know, one known is there. So other unknown force, so P is unknown, we need to find that. We don't need N, so we won't use it. So P divided by sine of angle between other two forces. So this P is this one. So other two forces total angle will be this. So this is 60 plus 90, that is 150 degrees equals to W divided by sine of angle between other two other than W, that means P and N. So this angle. So this is 90, this is 45, that is 135 degrees. So when you send it this side of the equal to, that means equation, then what we get is P equals to W into sine of 150 divided by sine of 135. But W is 300, substituting the value. Sine 150 is nothing but sine 30, that is half, divided by sine 135 is same as sine 45, which is 1 by root 2, which will be 300 by root 2. When we calculate it, what we get is option number D. So this is how our approach should be. As soon as we see the question, we should be able to grasp. For engineering mechanics, first thing we do is always drawing free body diagram. Once we draw it, rest of the story will be very simple if you have the concept. So as soon as you draw the drawing, I mean this one, you should get in mind that there are only three forces and body is in equilibrium. That means immediately your mind should connect to the concept of equilibrium. I mean, where we say that if there are only three forces and the body is equilibrium, then the three forces are concurrent. So this will be the case. And when this is the case, immediately it should strike to your mind that we can apply Lami's theorem. When we do that, very easily we will get P value. This is hardly 1 to 1.5 minute work, or maximum 2 if you are slow in calculations. So this is how we need to approach. Thank you.